This is Chuck Farrell from Skull 13, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in Mindcrime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, agent of Hydra Harley.
Yes, that's right. All hail Hydra.
So this is funny. So last night we were watching there's a Riff Tracks live that's up on Prime, on Amazon Prime. It just went up like in the last week or so.
Okay.
And they have guests with them. Okay. Now, I haven't finished the entire live show yet, but we were watching last night, and they had Trace Boyu, the guy that played Crow. You know, like
the original Crow.
Yeah,
right?
the original Crow. Yeah, they had him and TV's Frank come out.
Okay.
And they were doing, it was shorts. It's all shorts. Like, so like they'll do like one short, the three guys will do one short. And then they had Frank and Trace come out. They had Mary Jo Peel, who is Mrs. Forrester.
Yeah.
And then Bridget
Pearl.
Yeah. And then Bridget Nelson, it's Mike Nelson's wife. They're all writers in the show and stuff. So kind of cool. But so I'm actually looking in my nerd pad here. Okay. And I wanted to make sure that I had everything ready for today. And I always have my H thing written down for my good pal, Mr. Ben Harley, to tickle his little funny bone. And I looked down and I saw Agent of Hydra. And as soon as I saw that, Trace on Riff Track said, "Bow to the almighty Hydra."
Yes.
And I showed it to Angio. I said, if I don't show you this stuff, nobody believes this. And she looked at it and her eyes got kind of big, like, wow, that, I was like, yeah. I mean, she even saw me pick up the notebook, so she knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was right at that moment. It was right then, right there. So Ben Harley, that's awesome. That's a hell of a quinky dink. No?
That's right, buddy.
Yeah. So
it's not a quinky dink anymore, Timo, right?
No, it's not. So, but Ben Harley, Miss Mr. Danny Hicks, Mr. Ben Harley, but this is another show back into, we're getting back to the grind.
Yeah, we're back at it. Now I'm back in Toledo, and no longer in the beautiful palatial Dermal Ridge.
No.
Beautiful. I had a great time, Timo. Great show. I've been talking about the show quite a bit too, as well. And about the house. I didn't tell about the secret room. No. I didn't tell nobody.
Good.
Yeah. So, but no, I had a great time, and I said it's nice to be back in Toledo, but it's also nice to be sitting at Timo's watching it, sipping on Grape Ape,
right,
and just doing nothing.
Right. Not so great watching Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell, I guess.
Nah, we're gonna have to talk about that.
right.
I'm already talking to my therapist about it.
right. Little announcement. Saw that our old dinner buddy, Mr. Bruce Campbell, is going to be at Horror Hound in Indianapolis this year.
Yeah, what about that, huh?
Well, I don't know, but where there's one Evil Deady, you might see a few more. So
That's right.
Hopefully we'll have a interesting lineup once it all gets announced there for Horror Hound. Can't say nothing. No, I know a couple things, just a couple, but chop. Yep.
Shush.
Oh, yep. No. I leave this stuff up to the promoters and the pros. I got no interest at all in messing around or stepping on any toes. But it already looks like it's gonna be a good time. They got Robert Englund and Bruce are both going to be there. I remember Harley. Let me get out my cane. Well, I remember when each one of those guys was a headliner. Now they got both of them.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that, buddy.
Let's see here. I got a lot of stuff to go through, Mr. Ben Harley, that I watched. I'm going to try to roll through this here pretty quick.
All right, bud.
From 1962, while Danny Hicks was still in town, me and Danny and Angio watched one of my favorite films of all time, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Oh, yes. I saw that laying around the palatial.
Yep.
Thermal Ridge, yes. So you guys did watch it, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So it was good. We had a couple other Westerns we were going to watch, but it was a busy time. It was a busy trip this time. So we'll have to get to that next time. But I know Magnificent 7 is going to have to be watched at some point because Danny asked for it. And I said, well, sure, I got that. And I looked around and I was like, I don't think I got that. And then after Danny left, I went to a pile of Blu-rays. And I've got that. I found it. Yeah. So, I'll be getting that one. So, but that is one of my favorite Westerns. Such an excellent movie. I don't know. I just miss the stuff, Ben Harley. I miss right from wrong. I'm sorry. That's about as bold as I can, or bluntly as I can put it. So, moving on. Speaking of Mr. Harley, moving on. Watched a movie called Darkest Hour. I do believe Gary Oldman won a Best Actor Academy Award for this. This is a movie where he plays Winston Churchill.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've been wanting to see this, and it kind of fell out of my mind there. Is it good? Mm-hmm. He sounded a lot like him. I know that much. I
like Gary Oldman, but I don't like everything he's in. You know, I
see it. I like most of it. Mm-hmm. There's been a couple stinkers, but, you know, hey. Well, I've been in a couple stinkers too.
Well, he really is one of my favorite actors, and he's great. But like I said, and this one, he was just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And it's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's an old fashioned type of good movie. So, I think you'd enjoy it. Again, it's Darkest Hour.
And Winston Churchill was quite the character.
Yes, he was. Yeah. And Oldman doesn't overplay him. He kind of, you know, you look at Gary Oldman like, it was kind of like when Anthony Hopkins played Nixon and Hitchcock. You're like, God, could you find two people look any different than you? You know, I mean, gee whiz. But they did a hell of a job making him look remotely like Winston Churchill. Let's just put it that way. So, but his acting was just wonderful in it. So good movie. Darkest Hour. Good. Okay. Let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. Kind of went on a Creature from the Black Lagoon freak out.
Oh, you did?
Nice. We so
a good freak out.
It is a good freak out. Well, now I've been buying the streaming stuff. I have made that plunge finally. I have bought a good number of riff tracks. I did buy another riff track since you've left here, Mr. Ben Harley. This one is called Fun in Balloon Land. Haven't gotten to it yet, but I will make sure and drop acid and send you pictures. There's no Creature from the Black Lagoon set yet of Blu-rays. Okay. Now, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Creature from the Black Lagoon is on Blu-ray because it's on the Universal. Yeah. It's in the Universal set. So I saw Revenge of the Creature and thought, I'm going to get that. It's an HD on Amazon. So I did. And I was about ready to watch it. And Angio happened to bring up the fact, you know, I don't really remember Creature from Black Lagoon. It's been a long time since I've seen it. We stopped. I said, we're going to watch the Creature from the Black Lagoon first then. We'll get to Revenge of the Creature. I own both of them. It'll be fine. So fine. So Mr. Ben Harley, let me tell you something. Come here. Get close to me because I'm going to tell you something right now. All right?
I got my ear real close here.
If a woman ever tries to trick you into watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, just remember that Richard Denning and Richard Carlson don't wear a fucking shirt in the whole goddamn thing, and they got the bronzed, like, kind of shiny muscles kind of poking out. And remember also that the movie's in 3D. Do not watch it in 3D because those muscles look even bigger.
Pop out even more.
And they will make you look bad. Trust me. So after I was tricked.
Yes, he did.
And there's not enough Julie Adams in that thing, too, because I had a little cloud over my head. I go, there she is. I go, for God's sake, those guys are wearing her bathing suits. And she's wearing their clothes. What is going on in the 1950s? Okay.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we had Richard Denning, Richard Carlson, Julie Adams, and Whit Bissell. I like these Whit Bissell in that movie.
He's good.
I do. I like him. Something I want to bring up to you. You should go back and watch this movie and watch it through the shade or the prism of. There's a lot of Jaws gags in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a lot of things that are directly from Jaws. So basically, the Jaws things are directly from Creature. I think you should go back and watch it with that in your mind.
Okay.
Because it started kind of freaking me out. Now, we know Spielberg had probably seen Creature from Black Lagoon.
I think he might have seen it probably in the theater.
Right. I mean, even when they're pulling the cage up or they're pulling the stuff up and everything, and it's on the boat. I mean, there's a lot like it. So, yeah. So enjoyed watching that. Then we did go to Revenge of the Creatures. So Creature from Black Lagoon is 54. Yes. Revenge of the Creatures 55. Luckily,
was it that close? I didn't know.
It was that close. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Both directed by Jack Arnold.
Oh, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this one had now there was muscles, but they weren't quite as impressive because we only had John Agar in this one, and then John Broomfield. I don't know who that guy is. So anyway, but he did pop his muscles out of my wife. I smacked him around a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
We had a Laurie Nelson who just was not Julie Adams. However, Nestor Paiva as Lucas returns, the boat captain guy.
Oh, yeah.
He returns him. And also, Harley, I have to tell you that in the space-time continuum, we watched it 1 day or 2 days shy of when it was released in 1955.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right there. So we watched it. But we had fun watching those. They were good. The Revenge of the Creature is not as good as Creature from Black Lagoon. And then The Creature Walks Among Us is just damn weird. It's just damn weird, you know. So I'm going to get to it, though. I want to see it because I'm going to freak out. I'm going to go on it.
That's a good freak out, though, Tim. I said, I need to freak out again on Revenge of the Creature and The Creature of the Black Lagoon. I'm going to have to do those back to back. I'm not going, I don't think I'm putting my toes in the lagoon of Creature Walks Among Us anymore.
I'm going for it. I'm going for
awful film.
I'm brave. I'm brave. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm telling you.
Why? Why would you want? Never mind. So anyway,
it's cool. It's different.
No, not you. I'm sorry. Why would they want to make him more human? Like, oh God, why?
It's a little silly.
Come on, man.
Why did they want to take him to SeaWorld in the first place?
I know that. No, well, you got to cash in on. You got to cash in there, Tim. I really do like Revenge of the Creature a lot. Same thing. Like a lot of the movies, the part twos that I like. I know they're not quite the original, but some of them there's some good parts, and I really like Revenge of the Creature a lot. It's one of my favorite old Universal films. And not starring, very low part Clint Eastwood.
That's right. You're right. Yep.
I remember as a kid going, "What's he doing in this?"
Yeah, it's got that. It's got the one of the world's funniest murders by the creature, where he takes the guy and throws him against a tree. Except he throws him with a high riser. He throws a high riser.
He loops down and then comes up. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, you're right. He throws him for quite a distance.
Oh, it is. It is. I rewound it too. I kept wondering about this. I'm like, how is it that the creature gets into competitive hand battle with humans, but yet can throw them 20 yards?
Yeah, that's true.
There's a real on and off strength issue going on with them. I don't know.
You know how that stuff bothers me, Timo. Size, strength, you know.
Well, we're gonna get to some more of that here in a second. But first up, let's see. So then, since I was in a freak out, Mr. Ben Harley, with the Creature from Black Lagoon, I put in a little movie that just happened to win Best Picture this year, Mr. Ben Harley. I put in The Shape of Water.
Yes, yeah,
with Doug Jones as the creature guy, and Michael Shannon, and Richard Jenkins is in it, like Richard Jenkins. This movie looks just magnificent. The acting is tremendous in it. The production value is astounding. And the creature, for the most part, from what I can tell, is practical. It is a suit. Awesome, but unfortunately, I have an issue. I have a big issue with this movie. I'm going to tell you what it is. First of all, I don't like the story. Don't give me a fucking monster love story. Okay, I'm tired of it. All right, Dracula is enough. One is enough. I'm done. I don't like it. Yeah. All you people that liked it, that's fine. And to people's credit, not a lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is a horror movie." It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. No. It's a fantasy love story about a chick and a fish. Fine, cool. Well, here's the problem I got. All right, there's a movie that was made in Russia.
Yeah,
called Amphibian Man. At least that's the American or the English translation of it. Was the biggest film in Russia for 20 years. It was almost like their Wizard of Oz or Willy Wonka, about a woman who falls in love with a fish man. And the fish man is getting menaced by a dickhole who also wants the woman for himself. And so he keeps conspiring to frame the fishman into thinking that, that people thinking that he's a bad guy when the fishman's not a bad guy. Okay. So here's the issue I have.
They never are.
The movie is called Amphibian Man, right?
Right.
Okay. So in the credits of Shape of Water, Doug Jones is credited with playing Amphibian Man. The movie takes place, Shape of Water, movie takes place in 1962. Okay. Amphibian Man, the Russian film, was released in 1962. If I have seen this film, Mr. Ben Harley, the odds that Guillermo del Toro has also seen this film are really high.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that my knowledge is beyond Guillermo del Toro's, okay? So the problem I have is that I've not seen in one cotton picking place anyone, no connection to this at all. All right, like I don't see it anywhere.
What about Splash?
You know what? It Not Unlike My Name Is Bruce is basically a rewrite of The Three Amigos with one amigo. Okay. Yeah. There is a lot of Splash in this too. There really is. But I'm telling you, it is on Amazon Prime. Amphibian Man. It's on Amazon.
I'm gonna have to look. Really, I have to take a look at it.
Now it's a little different where the guy he wears a Amphibian Man suit. He does have gills and stuff. He was saved by his scientist father from dying as a child.
Oh, okay.
But he can go underwater and stuff. But the suit looks just like the Amphibian Man from Shape of Water. I was showing Angio pictures of this from, the internet. And she was like, ooh. I said, yeah, exactly. So I'm getting bothered, Ben Harley, by this. And I did not like the movie. So congratulations, Guillermo del Toro, for winning Best Picture. But so did Chariots of Fire, so they can all fuck off. All right, so
you had to do that.
I did. Chariots of Fire. Can't believe that fucking won. I can't believe that thing won. All right, so
I can't believe Shakespeare in Love.
That's a good one too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Over Saving Private Ryan. Kiss my ass.
Right. So we did not. No, I didn't like it at all. So I apologize to anyone who thinks I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. I didn't like it. Let's see here. Also, I got almost done here with Ben Harley.
Yeah.
Another one that I bought streaming on Amazon. I bought this one. It popped in my head. This movie did, and I couldn't find it, so I finally just had to break down and buy it. From 1995, the HBO film Indictment: The McMartin Trial.
Okay.
As a heavy metal fan, Mr. Ben Harley, you might remember this case. It was the longest case. No, it's the longest case in I think American history without a single conviction. It went for 9 years or some bullshit. 7 years. 7 years. That's how long it went. It was the trial of the McMartin preschool, where hundreds of preschool kids said that they were devil worshipped on and molested and made to drink goat blood and stuff like that. Do you remember this?
No.
No, sir. Okay. Well, for 7 years in popular culture, everyone but you knew about this. Right? So
where was I?
It was these psychologists, it's a social worker, would use the fucking puppets to talk to kids and say, and the puppets had penises and vaginas and stuff. What? And where did so and so touch you? Blah blah. Basically, this trial changed law everywhere because these irresponsible yet good intentioned, people that thought they knew better than everybody else. They were the smartest people in the room. Basically implanted these memories into 160 kids that they were molested when no one had touched a person.
Wow.
And we're talking about goat blood, about one kid said they took him on a plane and flew him somewhere to molest him. Ben Harley, this is a preschool.
Wow. Man.
Yeah. I mean, the stories were just what? And the people accused, there was one guy that was accused. He was in his early 20s.
Okay.
But then there was an old grandma in a wheelchair accused of Satanistic shit and stuff, and it's what on earth is going on here? And if you would, and I've seen the raw footage, the real footage of all this stuff. It's fucking spooky, man.
Wow.
It's really spooky, I mean, and it's, first of all, it's got James Woods as the star of this movie. and he's like the main lawyer. So you know it's going to be a good courtroom drama right there. But
yeah, right.
Man, what a good movie. What a scary but good movie. Yeah. I remember in the real trial, they didn't bring this up in the movie, but in the real trial, some of the kids, I don't think it was this one, but some of the kids stated they took me down in the basement and they touched my butthole, and then they killed a goat in front of me and poured the blood all over me and stuff like that. Well, the problem with that, Mr. Ben Harley, is the school didn't have a basement. Okay, now let's moving on here.
Moving on.
Yep, moving right on. But anyway, it's called Indictment, the McMartin Trial. You can purchase it or rent that on Amazon.
Wow, yeah.
Last and certainly...
You can't write stuff like that.
No, you can't. Last and certainly least, Mr. Ben Harley, I'm trying to roll this as quick as I can. Last and least, I did watch, and I did tell you about this too, I did watch Justice League.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oof. It's for me, it was just, it was just... Yeah,
You're
okay.
gonna apologize for something.
It was just okay for me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't expect a whole heck of a lot, but for me, there's only a few real redeeming qualities of that movie that just the rest of it can suck it. I'm sorry. It reminds, and here we go. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Reminds me of a Marvel film, which I'm not dogging Marvel films.
No, you're not.
It's more, I think they took to heart what people said about Batman, Superman way too much. You feel like, were you embarrassed by that? Because I'd stand by and say, this is what I made. This is the movie this is how I should be. No, you feel like you got your little feelings hurt and you had to dial it back. You had the foot on the pedal to the metal and you just went, and just dialed it back. And for me, Timo, how much money do they spend on this fucking piece of crap?
More than I'm worth.
And I'm like, and this is what you came up with? How about putting some more into the story instead of less into the stupid effects and all the yakety yak? I'm sorry. I'm done. Go on, Timo.
I'll read what I wrote down here. Sort of a ripoff of Marvel style movies without the humor.
Yep.
And I also told you, I'm sorry, but the Marvel style doesn't fit with the DC Universe heroes.
No.
And look, I'm not even going back to Superman or Batman versus Superman or whatever.
Yeah.
That was based off that really cool comic. I mean, that really cool graphic novel, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you know, and it was different, especially for DC. It was very, very different.
Yeah.
The things that bother me is that the DC and the Marvel, you just have to stop and put your ego aside and say they were different. DC was they were more black and white. It was more good versus evil, where Marvel had flawed people. Okay.
Yeah.
They were more human. Okay. In Marvel, they couldn't just fly, Ben Harley. Did you ever notice that?
Right.
They couldn't just fly. Even Thor swung his hammer. The Hulk jumped. Superman just goes, like that. So, and then Batman had no special powers whatsoever, except, as he said in the movie, which I did like this line, I'm rich.
I'm rich.
What's your superpower? I'm rich.
I'm rich.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. But it just doesn't work, and it feels cheap. Yeah. Justice League felt like a cheap Marvel movie. I don't think they had the money to do it like that, but it just doesn't work. It felt cartoonish, and I know that sounds funny coming from that.
No, that's right.
And then here's a couple things too, like Jason Momoa guy. That's Aquaman.
Yeah,
he is. Listen, they tried to make him funny like Chris Hemsworth as Thor in Marvel. It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work at all. It did not work, and it looked like. What bothered me, it probably bothered the hell out of you. What bothered me was it looked like DC was saying, man, Marvel's kicking our ass on these movies. We better make one like them.
Yep.
And that bothered me because I didn't like that. Now, look, I didn't like Wonder Woman. I didn't like this movie. I'm not a fan of that Wonder Woman. I don't like the guy playing Superman. I miss Christopher Reeve's temperament.
Yeah.
He had a DC temperament.
I don't mind this guy too much.
I don't hate him. Right. But he does. But he did. DC. I'm telling you, Ben. DC was just more black and white. Some people call it goody two shoes and bubblegum. So what?
Yeah,
they're comic books,
right?
They're comic books. Okay, who cares? But I don't like. It's like the suit with you. I'm Aquaman. What did I say? If that's Aquaman, I'm Doctor Doom. If that's
And the
Aquaman, I'm
thing
the
is with
leader.
him, man, what did, and I like Aquaman. And I always get upset with people, especially when I think Aquaman kicks ass. I don't care.
Mhm.
The Submariner kicks ass.
Mhm.
When the Submariner showed up, the Avengers had to show up to fight him.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The whole Avengers, not just one of them. The whole Avengers had to show up to get rid of the Submariner.
Mm.
So you see me upset about the fish guy. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
But he didn't really do much with his Aquaman. I don't know. So my thing is that I just think they toned it down too much. Like if you watch the Gotham television show that I've been watching, that's like 5 times more hardcore
Mhm.
as a television show than this movie was. Okay. I like comic books for what they are, but comic books have way transcended the back in the day when they were okay. And I have a hard time with that because of the suits and things like that.
Yeah.
But my thing is soon we're going to have a whole new perspective of what these superheroes look like, because you're not even going to know what the originals unless you're buying something that's vintage anymore, and that upsets me. I'm like, these things are so iconic.
Yeah.
And the suits are so iconic. That's why they are iconic.
Right.
Because of the suits, or partially because of the suits and the character and stuff like that.
Right.
Why do we want to change this stuff?
Let's just change all the pictures of Abe Lincoln to a Hispanic woman.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
I mean, why
Right.
not? It's like, no, come on. It doesn't racist not to do that. It's just fucking the way it is.
Yeah,
Jesus,
right.
what is wrong with the world, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
know.
I mean, and he wasn't funny.
No,
I'm sure the women liked his pecs. Fuck,
Yeah.
I liked his pecs.
Yeah.
I wanted to borrow him. All right,
Right.
but
Well, I
still.
thought- yeah, I don't know. My favorite part, I guess, of the whole film is when Superman shows back up and he's pissed off. I like that. I liked it. That's the only thing that to me was like anything that had any kind of, wow, there's some tension in the room. Other than that,
I kind of went Ben Harley on that though, because I'm like, that's not Superman.
No,
it's not. And it's like Batman being a little dark. I'm cool with that because he started off kind of dark.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But here's the other thing too. Batman's like CG'd flying all over the fucking place, falling 400 stories and grabbing onto something the last second. It's like, whoa. He's a rich dude. Yeah. That's it. And here's the other thing. Am I wrong? Didn't Aquaman need water to be strong?
Well,
I didn't see any water anywhere in this movie. He didn't take a fucking drink from a fountain. Okay.
No, he drank a lot of booze in there. Maybe that's his strength. I don't know.
I
was disappointed. Yeah. I was so disappointed because I liked the tone of Batman versus Superman. I did. It
wasn't bad. It was
some
okay.
of it was a little because it's based on one of my favorite. It was like 3 comics put together, but it was mostly based on one of my favorites. This one, man. I felt good about this one as I did that when I watched Winter Soldier here recently. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. And Batman took not only a backseat, but he took he was like the 5th guy in it. And if anybody knows a little bit about the comics and stuff, Batman is not really so much the leader, but he's kind of you don't.
He's rich.
Fuck with Batman, but you don't mess with Batman. You don't mess. You know what I mean? Batman. I'm Batman. Don't like it. That's what I like. I don't like all this taking a back seat.
Yeah.
Bull crap.
Well, just as a movie. I mean, just as movies, like the first Avengers movie was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second one's pretty bad. Okay. The first Captain America movie, pretty good. The second one, not so good. That's that Winter Soldier you're talking about. Not as good. Yeah. Not as good. Okay. So there's a sophomore slump. I get it. Well, they started the Justice League pretty shitty.
Yeah.
And that actually did put DC at a disadvantage if you want to go back and forth. Because I'm telling you, the thing with Marvel is that they can make a movie about Ant-Man, and I enjoyed it. And I don't give 2 fucks about Ant-Man whatsoever. I mean, they made a great movie about Deadpool. I barely even knew who Deadpool was. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, there was like, and that's fine. There's a sense of humor the Marvel movies have. That's very irreverent, and so were the comics. So fine, DC. I'm telling you, DC was always more. I don't want to call it goody two shoes. I'm calling it black and white.
Right.
Superman was Superman. He wrapped himself around the flag. So Wonder Woman, it's like, it's like I'm okay with that. you can still have a brutal fight. They had brutal fights.
Sure. Oh yeah, they did.
But it was their disposition that was like unflappable. They were heroes.
Yep.
And every time you strip down those characters, you make them look like It's, you know what it reminds me of? God, I'm getting way too nerdy about this. I'm going to stop after this. It reminds me when the WWF guys went into WCW, the Outsiders, and they just beat the shit out of everybody. Nobody, I mean, people would punch them. They wouldn't sell the punch at all. So you're telling me that even though Kevin Nash and Scott Hall could run through the WWE and have these competitive fights and lose and win, as soon as they go to WCW, they're just like, they're jobbing everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of two worlds that don't need to imitate each other. They can mix.
Right.
I'd love to see a movie where they mix, but they don't need to imitate each other.
It's coming.
I know it is. I know. They came in the comics. It'll come. And they're friends. DC and Marvel are not, they're competitors, but they don't hate each other. Yeah. Which is fine. I'm happy about that. And I'd like to see them mix. Okay.
Well, that was my whole thing. I don't like the whole, and my thing, and I don't know if any Marvel nerds want to call me or not, but I love Marvel a lot. I love probably more of my favorite characters probably come from Marvel, but some of my favorites are probably more in DC. Some of them, but it's just like sometimes the Marvel guys come off to me, and coming from a artist background and comic book background and being a comic book nerd for a while,
right?
They act like they're the smartest guys in the room sometimes, and it just doesn't make me. It makes me unhappy. And I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, that Thor Ragnarok movie was 10 times the movie Justice League was, and Thor Ragnarok did not. Yeah. It should not be better than a Justice League movie.
No,
just in the like hierarchy of what's important in the comic world. And I'm not a comic nerd, but I grew up reading them. You know that. I know enough about the stuff. Yeah. So what I'm telling you is that's what it should have been. It's pretty bad. And Thor Ragnarok is a great movie. And here's the other thing too: the villain in that movie was pretty fucking ferocious. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I don't think they're gonna win. And this one, it was like, it's just going to take a couple good punches. Nobody really knows who Steppenwolf really is. I do. They did that song. They did that song back. So here's the thing, Mr. Benhart. I got a question for you. Sir. Okay. Now, when it comes to all this DC stuff, I talked to you about Superman, right? Superman can just go, he just fly away. When you were a baby, what did you do first when you were moving around?
I crawled.
Right. Then what did you do after that?
I stumbled, then started to walk.
Then you walked. Now, after you got done, after you like kind of started walking, did you like decide, wow, that's really cool, I can walk? Did you crawl around anymore?
No.
Okay.
Well, only when I was loaded.
All right. Why would Superman bother ever to walk?
That's true too. Well, I don't know. Maybe he gets tired of flying. Could mess with this.
You get tired of walking, so you crawl?
Right. No. Sure. Yeah.
All right. No, okay. So anyway, that's it. What you got? You got anything for me here?
Yeah, I can. We'll breeze through some of the stuff real quick, Timo. All right. So something I got home from the palatial Dermal Ridge last weekend in the space-time continuum. So on Sunday, I was just kind of breezing through some stuff on TV, and I came across the movie Halloween. Which not the 1978 gem of a film,
right?
But the 19 or 2000 whatever Rob Zombie Halloween, and I was probably about halfway into it, and I watched. I gave it about 15 minutes, and I still can't enjoy this movie. It was on the IFC channel or whatever, so they really showed everything, and. But I don't know, Tim. I can't get into this movie. To me, there's just I don't know, like if he just got all this stuff together before he had a story, really, and then once he got out there, I don't know. But my whole thing about that movie is the guy seriously assembled one of the greatest horror casts ever. I don't care from the starting of film till now. That is still one of the greatest cast ever assembled as far as a horror film, and it was a all-star team. Right. To me, I mean, it might not be anybody else, but to me, that was a dream team of actors, right, for horror, and then that's what we got was this probably D-League film, right. You know, it's not even a B film to me. It's a D film because this movie is just awful.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't want to feel sorry for Michael Myers. I'm not scared by this movie. It doesn't make me even kind of remotely tingle like, oh my God, you know, nothing about it makes me like, I don't get it. And I don't know if it's me or what, but like, I'm very, you know how I am with things, but Halloween I'm very protective of that film.
Right.
You know, I don't have to preach to you about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the story is it's Psycho. It's the second coming of Psycho. Mm-hmm. And Psycho was a terrifying film for people. Still is. It could, you know, I mean, I know it's black and white, but that traumatized people. Halloween did too. And I'm not saying, you know, you ought to make a movie to traumatize. You know what I'm saying? It's just the story itself sucked you in. You felt like you were there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You felt for these people. You're like claustrophobic in Halloween. This movie sucks. But
I think it's real simple. Had someone else made this movie, no one would even care about it or remember it.
Yeah.
But the posers in the world think that Rob Zombie, it makes it like it has more meaning to it because it's a fucking rock and roll musician.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
Am I wrong on that though?
I mean, the whole thing is a complete travesty. And people prop it up because of their love for Rob Zombie or for whatever the fuck. I don't know I don't know, but
did you find it scary, Timo?
No, it's not scary at all. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's too long. It's boring. Yeah. It's just there's nothing to grab onto.
And my thing is too, some of the acting seems like they're sleepwalking through it.
Yeah.
I love Brad Dourif. I think Brad Dourif's great, but some of his is bad.
Yeah.
Roddy McDowell, awful. I think as Dr. Loomis, awful.
Right.
And I hate to feel that way. The only person I thought was decent in the whole movie was Dee Wallace, and she's not in it very long.
Oh, I can't even remember like the Laurie Strode character hardly.
Yeah.
I do a little bit, but it's like there was like nothing to her. Like it was she was literally just a slasher victim babe.
Yeah.
And it was gone. All the story that you cared about was gone.
You tried to unravel the original Halloween. Why did he do it? You don't know. Because he did. That's what he did. Why did he come after his sister? Because it was his sister. He didn't, you know, he just what he did. He came out. Now this one, he's like, well, was it because his sister was the only one that he liked back then? And remember, he wanted to be pals with her. Killed everybody else, and then came upstairs, wanted to be pals with her, and then got mad because she stabbed him. Mm-hmm. What is going on with that? I don't care. I don't care. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. Now you're making me think into it too much.
Right.
Don't care. Right. So, I don't know. So, phooey on that.
Yeah, no, bad.
Some good stuff, though, that I did watch, Timo. The giant spider invasion. I revisited one of my favorite mystery science of all time. Yeah. Yes. I told Robert Easton you said hello. And,
nice.
Yeah. So, that movie's still so good. And, you know, I've watched it so many times, but it's funny. I heard a new line in it. I have an album. I have a bunch of old crazy albums around here, and I have one. You probably know who Whoopi John is. I probably shouldn't even ask you. You know who the great one is, Whoopi John.
Who's
Polka
Whoopi
King,
John?
Right?
No, I have no idea who Whoopi John is.
I know you know who Whoopi John.
I don't know.
He's the Polka King, my friend.
Okay.
King.
I know the Schmangy brothers. That's about it. I don't know what the Whoopi.
Well, I have Whoopi John, the great one.
Okay.
Album around, and I always would put it on every so often to make people angry. But I heard a Whoopi John reference in Giant Spider Invasion, so it made me very happy. And I do enjoy, too, going back, and sometimes there's stuff that you miss, you know. But yes, so Whoopi John, the great one, and your Packers are very well supported.
Oh, they always are, because those guys are from Minnesota. Yeah. I get made fun of constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. So Packers won the Super Bowl at one point, I think, in the film. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's when the spider comes chasing them off the football field. So, yeah, I love that movie. Just love it. And it's what's so funny, and I still think about it every time I watch it, that movie actually scared me so bad as a kid. Frightened me, and I just look at it like this is the least scary movie that's ever been made.
Yeah. Well, them big spiders, since they weren't like superimposed, they were actual like big mechanical junky things in the back of like VW bugs or something. So it actually it actually was a little creepier because it was in frame. You know, that was coming. And here's the other thing too. I mean, people I don't know if everybody kind of gets this or even thinks about it for themselves, but the quality of television, just the picture back when we were kids, is not what it is today. So some of the stuff we saw kind of grainy, and we filled in the blanks in our minds. Right. I mean, because you couldn't hardly see the giant spider invasion. It just looked like a bunch of shadows. And the Boy Cried Werewolf, another good example of that.
Right.
You can't see hardly anything in the movie at all.
I know if I never would have seen giant spider invasion ever again, I would have still remembered it from when I was a kid. There's two scenes. The one where the spider comes out of the ground, eats Robert Easton, and also the blender scene with the spider in the blender.
Yep.
I'd never forget those for as long as I live. And lucky enough that Riff Tracks, did it so I could watch it. Or Mystery Science.
Right.
Yeah, so very happy that I was able to watch that again. I love it. I watch it every couple of years now, so it's just, it's such a fun movie.
Oh, yeah, it's a great one.
Or fun... Yeah,
Mr. Science. Yeah, it's a great one.
Really yeah. So, okay, Timo, a couple more things real quick. I'm keeping up on Lost in Space. Not so bad. It's starting to ramp up a little bit more. They're not the only people lost in space. There's a couple other people that landed on the planet as well. So there's some tension between them. And then, the thing was like they were on the space station going to this planet. And I can't remember what the planet was, but the B9 robot, like came aboard the ship and started attacking the ship. And then like the ship or the space station kind of blew up and some of the ships were saved and a couple of the ships went down to the planet that they were circling. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So you got a little bit.
Can I ask you a question though? If this was called Raiders in Space, would you even see the connection between Lost in Space?
A little bit. It's mostly just because of the names.
Well, let's just say they took one letter difference in all the names. Would you even recognize
it? It's not. It's not. It's nowhere near like I was telling you, I think before it's more like the Lost in Space movie. Mm-hmm. Not that bad. It's more, I mean, to me, I like it much more already. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying but it's like that where, it's not, I don't know. For me, I'm never going to have my Space Family Robinson like I liked, But then again, I don't know if I could deal with carrot-headed aliens either. You know what I'm saying? Now,
right.
As much as I love those old ones, and I do, I love them for all they're worth. But I don't know that I could deal with something like that. And this one, it's just going to make me chuckle. I mean, laugh out loud.
It's something that's I have to throw my arms up in the air. It's just one of those things where I'm just like. Did you?
Well, they changed some stuff in there too. It's like, did you have to change that? No, but I said the same thing with Dr. Smith. Right now that Parker Posey's, she's enough of a jackass that I don't even really care right now.
Right.
I'm to the point, which is okay. Now, if she really sucked and I didn't like her, then I'd be yearning for more, probably or a different person or whatever. But I have a couple problems with it. But the last two episodes, I'm on episode 7 right now. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I apologize. I just started episode 8. So there's only 10. But for me, my only problem is it's taken it's taken a little too long to get where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. But now I'm a little bit more invested in the characters and stuff like that. And it's getting better. Mm-hmm. So, but it's just hard because
I'm still telling you.
It's different.
Yeah, I'm just still telling you, this bothers me. It's the same thing with all these remakes, everything else I always talk about. Could you, me and Danny debated the Evil Dead remake. Yeah. I was like, if you just change the title, would you even recognize it as something? I mean, there are a couple moments. Right. Yes. I mean, there are a couple of the girl underneath the trap door and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, fine. There's a couple of things that are reminiscent, but at the same time, I don't know, Harley.
No, you're right. Though,
I think it's all money. I think that they think more people will watch it. And I think that it's like talk radio. Yeah. It's like listening to on one side, I guess NPR, and the other side Rush Limbaugh or something. You're getting your panties in a bunch over stuff, and so you'll keep paying attention to it because it's cranking you. It's making you cranky, or it's making you compare things and stuff. And it's and I hear people like Tim Jameson also say, it's not my Lost in Space. Guess what? Yeah, your Lost in Space still exists, and if you don't watch this turkey, they won't do this anymore.
And that's my thing. I'm trying to. And that's one thing, even with that Shape of Water you're talking about, and this and a couple other things, I'm like, I'm happy. I'm happy that they're doing these things only in the terror. Throw the terror in there, because if not, I don't want to see this stuff go away. And I don't want to see more vampires. And I don't want to see more zombies and stuff like that. But I get what you're saying too, because it is not, which could be a good thing. Like, I don't think any kid probably much younger than us, or anybody 10 years younger than us really might not have got into Lost in Space that much either. So I think it's good that they could probably watch this and just not have to think about that stuff. I'm past that. I'm a little past it right now, which is good. Hold on. No, wait a minute.
Yeah. To your point, though, my issue is that these kids are going to see this as the Lost in Space.
Yeah.
They're going to go back to your Lost in Space and make fun of it for being stupid and cheesy. You see what I'm saying? They're going to go back now, and they're going to do that.
We got that same thing for The Thing, Timo, The Thing. I'm sure somebody could go back and look at the black and white one and go, what the hell? But then again, we love it. We love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
again,
I know
based on a book,
but I think hopefully some of the kids that are watching this are appreciative enough. Like Chance and my daughter Zoe appreciate these older films too, which are good. And I'm proud of that. I've never, I know neither of us really pushed it. You enjoy watching those things with Chance, but you don't have to watch them with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Zoe doesn't have to watch those things with me, but then she does. And they both do on their own, which is, so hopefully maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see, buddy. Like I said, I take these things, I'm so protective. Here we go again.
Yeah.
So protective of these things. It's hard for me. And it's hard for me to watch some of the stuff. Like the Lost in Space movie. I didn't like that one. I didn't.
No, it was awful.
I didn't like it. I liked some of the people in it, but I didn't like the movie.
I'll ask the same thing about the movie as I do about the series. Could you have just said something else? Because to me, all I see, it's a very thinly veiled money grab. That's all.
Yeah.
They want people to watch this, so they're going to do it.
I've caught a couple nods to things like Mark Goddard, who played Don West or whatever. There was like a certain thing. It was somebody, they crashed, after the crash, there was like a person from one of the ships, and like it said Goddard on the side of his thing. And then they had Dr. Smith stole her identity from Billy Mummy. He was Dr. Smith in it, which is weird. But you only see his picture. You saw him once, and then that was it, So, I don't know, Timo.
I'm not participating in this stuff. Yeah. And I haven't been. And I'm not going to. I'm just not going to participate in it. As a matter of fact, I'm protecting your loves more than you are.
I know.
You're watching this stuff. I'm like, I ain't watching. I got no interest in it. And
I will say, though, they've been pretty true to the music, Timo. You should appreciate, I know you, but I'm sorry. I know you'd appreciate that. They've used the theme from Lost in Space a couple times, and there was a point where the ship was, it gave me that feeling of Lost in Space being a kid again for a couple seconds, which was cool, and I'm glad they did that. They haven't used the music.
I didn't watch it a lot. It wasn't on a lot when I was a kid where I lived. Yeah. I've seen it, but I didn't watch it a whole lot. I saw it.
I don't think there was a lot of people that were into Lost in Space and Star Trek all that much. It was either one or the other, or I don't know. I was more Lost in Space. Not that I think Star Trek was a little too brainy for me at first when I was little. I watched it, but I just didn't appreciate it until I got a little bit older, and Lost in Space can be a little bit more corny, but I love it. There's still some really good drama, and still, I love when Don wants to whoop on Dr. Smith. I love it.
Yeah. I didn't, I think I was just mostly a Twilight Zone type of guy, or something like that. I didn't really watch the sci-fi shows a whole lot, but if they were on, I'd watch them for the obvious reasons. There was creatures and things in them, and it was fun.
Exactly.
You know, I mean,
and like you said, someone depend on where you were in the country too.
Yeah.
That
what was over in syndication?
Yep. What the rotation was.
I got a lot of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, we got a little bit of that too.
A lot of Brady Bunch. I got a lot of. I've seen. Three Stooges out the ears. So
that's good, buddy. Well, last thing, Timo, and I won't talk too much on it, but I just started watching Jesus of Nazareth as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like I remember a lot of it. I'm only about an hour in. And
so you're to the Immaculate Conception.
Pretty close, yes. Yeah.
An hour in. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's thorough.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But, it's funny how much I remembered about it. I forgot, same thing too.
Yeah.
Now Now, if Rob Zombie would have made that film, he'd have taken all that great cast and made a piece of crap with it. So I'm glad he didn't direct Jesus of Nazareth. So
no, he would have had Sid
he had
Satan.
he had just as many good actors in his as this has.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing cast. Yeah, it is an amazing cast. It's a great movie.
But good. And I enjoy this one. I forgot how much I said of this movie, and I think I've watched part of it just recently too. So
probably, I think it shaped our view of that kind of stuff because it was such a big event on television. I'm not sure who didn't watch it. Right. Because that was back in '77 when that's what you had. Whatever was coming in your snooty antenna is all you had. So that's what we got, But
snooty.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad. That's good. That's a. How did do you have? Is it on Prime or something? Or did I give it to you?
No, I think it's on Prime.
Is it really?
Prime or Hulu? It's either Prime or Hulu, but I think it's Prime. I'm almost
the one with Robert Powell in it and Donald Pleasance and all that. Okay, all right.
And,
well, that's crazy. They're listening, Ben Harley. They're listening. I'm telling you.
Got Darth Vader in there and everything. James Earl Jones.
Yeah. One of the wise men, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it's and that's good.
Yeah,
really good. So.
Let's get to our official films. This is Ben Harley. We're getting real long here, so why don't we get to? Let's start off with let's see here. Let me get this. The 1955. 1955 Universal film Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get out Movie Guy. Give you a real short plot line synopsis here. Here we go. Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. Stranded in Egypt, Bud and Lou get mixed up with crooks and find themselves in the buried tomb of the living mummy, Clarice.
All
right.
Yeah. Tough guy. Clarice.
This movie, it was actually, as they call it, Abbott Costello's penultimate film, meaning it was the second to last film. This was the last one they did for Universal.
Oh, wow.
And Lou Costello was just getting over rheumatic fever, believe it or not.
He had it real bad.
Yeah. So this is right when he was getting over that. And yes, the Abbott Costello do meet a mummy, but the movie, most of the comedy in the movie and the gags and the old vaudeville gags involve this medallion that's got some connection to the mummy, and they're trying to keep the medallion away from a bunch of crooks. The crooks are an interesting bunch, though, because the gal is Marie Windsor, who we've seen in tons and tons of movies. Michael Anzara from The Manitou and Day of the Animals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I guess he played an Indian in The Manitou, and I believe an Indian in Day of the Animals. So he was the main crook henchman guy. Dan Seymour, who played the Maharaj in Batman, he was the bigger fella. He was also in Return of the Fly and Key Largo.
Oh, wow.
Now, the guy playing the mummy was Mr. Eddie Parker, who was a stuntman actor, almost had 300 credits to his name as an actor.
Wow.
But he doubled for Chaney in the Mummy movies. And we've talked about Eddie Parker before because he was Mr. Hyde in the Abbott Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And he was also the monster on the campus. Which we've done before. So, but that's really what this is. Look, here's the thing. It's Lou and Bud, and they're trying to keep this medallion away. So they have all kinds of old vaudeville gags using this as the object.
Sure.
Basically doing stuff. And then, of course, they're running away. There's not enough mummy in this movie. But when there is mummy in the movie, then they get to be too much mummy. Because when they're showing the mummy sparsely, man, it looks good.
Yeah.
It does. It looks real good. It's only when they keep showing them over and over that you realize that's like a button-up suit. Yeah. Basically, whatever. And then, but it kind of reminded me of the mummy in the Three Stooges shorts, which I think is next to Karloff is probably the creepiest mummy I've seen in the old films. Yeah. And the ones from the Three Stooges. That was brilliant. That was brilliant makeup. So and this was that Bud Westmore guy that took over for Jack Pierce doing the makeup. And I he did a pretty good job. So
because they mix it up because there's like three different mummies. You don't know who's who. The mummy, and there's the henchman, and then there's Bud Abbott dressed as the But there's like one of them looks really good. It doesn't look like the suit, and the other two kind of look like a suit. It's weird. I don't know.
Right? Yeah. But so it's got a good cast. This would be the last of the Abbott, Costello, and the Universal This, I guess, it's more of a fizzle out, I guess, of the Universal monster movies. Interestingly enough, though, comes out the same year as Revenge of the Creature, so it's almost like a torch has been passed from the Mummy and the Frankenstein monster and Dracula, Wolfman, up to the Creature at this point. Because I would consider this the last classic Universal monster movie of that group that came out in the 30s, early 40s, or whatever. What'd you think, Harley?
I like this movie a lot, Timo. I haven't seen it in a number of years, but I used to watch it a lot, too, when I was younger and stuff. And I, happen across it every so often. But it might have been, too, the time I was watching it, but maybe I needed the chuckles a little bit more. Uh-huh. But I like the gags in this movie, too. And for some reason, there's a couple scenes in this movie that stick out in my mind and will forever, And I like Abbott and Costello. And I think this one is pretty good. There's enough stuff for them to do. And, and Lou Costello takes some serious falls. That guy, man.
He does a lot of slipping and sliding, doesn't he?
Oh, man. Some of it looks fun, but some of this looks painful, too. And I feel for him, There's a few that I rewind every so often and watch and just laugh. But I like the slapstick stuff. I love, the Three Stooges, Abbott Costello, the slapstick stuff to me is hilarious.
Right.
But sometimes it looks the older I get, the more painful it looks.
You ain't kidding, man. Yeah.
Man.
Yes.
But I like this movie. Like I said, there isn't a whole lot of Mummy. It kind of at first a little bit, but then a lot more of it. Yeah, you're right. It's just kind of the amulet they're trying to. First, they try to unload it, and I love the part when they go to the pawn shop or wherever to unload the amulet, and the guy just loses his mind. Right. And it's just so funny. And then, afterwards, Lou Costello kind of makes fun, does the same thing. It's just some of that stuff for me. It's fun. These movies to me remind me of when I was a kid, a lot, but they're just, I don't know, they're fun. And I like the mixture. Even as a kid, I did. Even though I was I loved monster movies and all the Universal stuff and Godzilla movies. I liked the mixture of the comedy, the Abbott and Costello stuff,
right? And
maybe that made it easier for me to like stuff as I got older, like The Evil Dead and other things that had a little bit more Chainsaw Massacre too. That had more of a slapsticky type. And it's a horror movie, but you know what I'm saying? You still had that. So I appreciated these old films. I said, I am a Abbott and Costello homer. I am. Now, some of the stuff I don't enjoy as much, but a lot of it I've seen so many times, it's not as funny as when I was younger or the first time I seen it. But neither is a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this one I enjoyed watching the other day. I was, printing and watching this and just having a good time watching it. And it's been a little while since I, had such a good time watching something, unless I'm watching like Mystery Science or something like that, where I'm into it and I'm laughing, I'm having a good time. And that's what I enjoyed about watching this. And it might be because I haven't seen it in a while too. But I like this movie, Tim. I really do. I don't know if it's their best one by any means.
No.
But for some reason, I've always liked this from the time I was a kid. Mm-hmm. It's a little watered down, but there are still some funny gags to me, you know. So I like the ending. The ending's great, and he busts through the wall.
Yeah,
splits out. It's just,
Well, I think the movie really picks up when they get to the tomb near the end.
Yeah,
and it really because I have to admit that I was at one point I was like, where the fuck is the mummy at? Come on, And I mean, their gags were okay, but they were doing a lot of old vaudeville gags I've seen before, and that's fine. They do a great job. They're pros, and they do a really good job. But there was a moment where I was like, come on, get on with the mummy. That's more funny. I want to see him run away from the mummy. And almost right when I was getting a little irritated is when they went to the tomb, and then it went all mummy nuts, doing that. What I like about this is like, I see this as more of something leading up to a movie like Private Eyes. What was cool
Scooby-Doo.
What was cool about these movies was that they would take two comedic characters and insert them into a serious situation.
Yeah.
And that's what was kind of neat. That's what was kind of good about it. Whereas sometimes if you see a horror comedy now, every character on the face of the planet's goofy in the movie. And that's not really the case in these movies. I mean, these characters they're they're trying to do their normal life thing, looking at these goofs like, what? You know, I mean, come on, man. You know, it's like, yeah. So I do enjoy that. That's good. That's good comedy. We watched this, me and Angie O and Chance, we watched this on Saturday. And we had a pretty good time watching it. I don't think this is right up there with Abbott, Costello Meet Frankenstein, but it's still pretty darn good. And there's some good gags in it. And there's some good routines and moments and stuff like that. And again, I thought The Mummy was pretty good. The Mummy was one of those monsters that could actually make pretty damn creepy. Yeah. You know, right, I'm not saying that the Lon Chaney Mummy wasn't creepy, and they were. But sometimes, you know, the mummies look like they're just toilet paper wrapped around, you know, somebody or something like that. And these, not so much. I mean, this was not a handsome mummy. Not a handsome mummy at all. So, well, I was going to say, they did have the pretty gal in the movie that sings I Blew In From St. Louis. So
I thought about it. Dude,
she blew in from St. Louis. I didn't see her blowing by.
No. I'll tell you one thing, Timo. Now, it's not very often in these older films that I feel too uncomfortable. But what about the scene at the beginning where they go into the bar and there's a choreographed fight scene between three girls and a guy?
Yeah.
I, for some reason, didn't really remember that scene that much. And I literally was standing there and like with my mouth open going, wow. And I was like, this is getting worse. I'm like, and then they pan back to the audience, and the audience is sitting there laughing and watching like good spirits. I'm like, what is going on there? I mean, there's girls getting punched by guys. Yeah. There's
Chance yelled, dance fight. He went, dance fight. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The lady got dragged across the stage by her hair. Yeah. Like, it was intense, and chairs and tables getting broken and people getting shot out. Was like, what kind of dinner theater is this? Yeah. And this is like, oh man, this is like, that's punk rock dinner theater, I guess. I don't know, but I was like, it was uncomfortable for me to watch for a minute. I was like, oh man,
I'm pretty sure that was the same guy and three girls that was dancing at the end.
At the end, because he said, I know what we can do. And I didn't know Here Come the Mummies have been around as long as they've been around, too. They were in this movie, weren't they? That band?
But it was, I enjoyed the film. It's a harmless piece of entertainment. Again, it's kind of what I like about these old movies. I didn't laugh out loud. Abbott Costello never did make me laugh out loud very much. Yeah. I know a lot of people really, really like them. I do like them. But I do not like them as much as Laurel and Hardy or the Marx Brothers or Three Stooges. I find them to be not as funny. Although it's not that I don't like them, because I was the one telling you I watched that documentary, and there's that great gag at the end where Bud Abbott's trying to keep a straight face and stuff. So I have a lot of appreciation for them. And I enjoy their films more so than I think they're hysterically funny. They're humorous to me.
They are funny, but I tried to look at it the other day when I was watching it, like through the prism of people watching it. And there's some really good, subtle things in this film that I forget about. And the same thing happens to me sometimes when I watch Stooges and even some of the older, like Buster Keaton. I was a big Buster Keaton fan. Like, who the hell back then, in the there weren't too many kids my age that were like, what? Buster Keaton?
Right.
Who the flip is that? You know? Oh, yeah. But I like that stuff. I like the physical comedy, whatever. But sometimes there's the subtle things, and there was a couple in here that were zingers. I just thought were awesome. Now I don't. Like I said, sometimes as I've gotten older, I don't consider Abbott and Costello as like the Three Stooges almost, but I still consider the Three Stooges the best. Then Abbott and Costello for me. That's how it goes for me. And then I like the Marx Brothers. I think they're absolutely flipping hilarious too. But I think it's just, I don't know, I'm a Mo Howard fan. Everybody else was a Curly fan, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So sometimes I look at stuff a little bit different like that, but
people need to go back and watch the Marx Brothers though, because the Marx Brothers it's a little unfair because they only have movies. I mean, they didn't have all the shorts and all this and that. And
they were way ahead of their time.
They were just,
were like the creme de la creme of the beginning. Though I do like Laurel and Hardy too. I haven't watched a whole, especially in many years, but I did when I was younger, a little bit. Not a whole heck of a lot, but for some reason around here, that stuff played. Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, and we get Buster Keaton and stuff, you know, things like, and Buster Keaton was kind of hard to find. You'd come across, you know, but I thought it was funny. Those stuff, the silent ones to me were almost as funny, you know, like just funny stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate these things, and I just hope that other people do too, because this is stuff that if you go back and watch this stuff, this is what started anything that's been funny since is the, you know, the Abbott and Costellos and the Three Stooges and all that stuff, the Marx Brothers, that stuff started. And it's funny because you still see some of it today. Yeah. You still see some of it today. It's just either faster or, you know, more hardcore or whatever, but it's still based on that stuff.
Right.
Physical comedy and funny, just working with a partner like you and I, Tim.
That's right. That's right. I just don't poke you in the eyes quite as much. So
no, it's too far. I'm glad I'm over it.
So
I hurt from the last time I was in studio.
I'm going to give Abbott Costello Meet the Mummy a grape ape up. Just a regular, normal grape ape up. It's okay. It's not great, but it's still harmless, and it's a well put together movie. Yeah. And I do appreciate how they don't make fun of the monsters a whole lot. You know, they kind of keep the monsters creepy and stuff like that. So it's
just like you were saying, it's like two goofballs in a bad situation.
And that's what makes it fun.
It didn't make the monsters any less weak. It's just like, holy crap now, you know. And
right.
So, but yeah, I think I'm going to give it a big grape ape up, Tim.
Okay.
I like this one mostly from my childhood. I remember this one a lot for some odd reason. I think I've seen it. I know I saw it a lot when I was younger. Mm-hmm. It played a lot. It's not, to me, it's nowhere near Meet Frankenstein, but yet this is still good. Meet Frankenstein for me you and I talked about, there's a couple scenes from that movie that are some of my favorite Universal monster scenes, which in here it's a comedy, you know, but I think that one was taken a little bit more serious to maybe than this one. But I mean, come on, how many did they do by this point? You know, so but I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna give it a big grape ape up only for that. It made me really happy the other day. It set me in a really good mood, you know what I mean? So I appreciated that.
Good. Awesome.
So Abbott.
Hey Abbott. I like I said, we had a good time watching it, but I didn't. It's not my favorite, but it's good, and I'm not going to poop on it. I'm definitely going to give it some sort of grape ape up, and that's definitely.
Well, I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we reviewed it.
Yeah, I am too. I actually got upset because I watched on DVD. I just got the DVD, and I gave it to you and everything, and happened to be looking for other things, and I realized I have The Mummy, Complete Legacy, and I had it on Blu-ray and didn't even watch it on Blu-ray.
Geez.
I didn't even watch it on Blu-ray. I didn't know. I was like, oh, for crying out loud. I would have loved to have used one of the Blu-rays we spent hard-earned money on, but no, I watched this little flimsy DVD of this thing. Anyway, but it was good. It was fun. Glad we did it. Another movie, Ben Harley, that's a little zany. Zany is the next official film for this week. Now, I've got this. Here's the Blu-ray here says that this movie was made in 89. IMDb says this movie was made in 91. You tell me. I don't know. It's somewhere between there.
Say 90 and a half.
Let's say it was created in 89.
We'll go right in the middle.
Yeah, let's say it was created in 89 and released in 91. I'm pretty sure that's what they're getting at here. I think most of the IMDb dates are when they're released, and this was the date it was actually made. So this was made in 88 finally, or 89, and finally released in 91. It is The Boneyard.
The Boneyard, yes. Starring one Phyllis Diller.
Yes. This movie, let's see. I do have a Blu-ray of this. It has a very long plot synopsis. We are getting very long, Ben Harley. I'm not going to read it. There's a short one that is here on IMDb. I'm going to go on that because just trying to describe this movie is going to probably break our necks trying to do it. Right. So here we go. The Boneyard. Here's a short synopsis plot summary. Here we go. Children turn into zombies, wreak havoc in a coroner's building with just a burned out psychic, an experienced cop, and 2 coroners to stop the madness. Oof. Yeah, that's thin. Okay, so, oh God, I don't even know how to describe this movie. There are children that are found murdered, right? Or killed. There's something. And there's a mortician who is a Oriental gentleman, right? This all comes back, and he is responsible for this. And the reason he has children is like a sacrifice thing to keep some demons at bay. He doesn't want to kill the kids. He has to keep these demony guys down. These demons,
keep them mellow,
keep them out, keep them down. Yeah, keep them away. So, of course, that doesn't work out real good. And there's little demony creatures, and they're kind of zombies.
Kinda.
They're like they're spewing. Yeah, they're like spewing their zombiness.
Oily zombies.
Yeah,
oily maniacs.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, they're kind of oily maniacs a little bit. Yeah. And as you said, yes, we have Phyllis Diller.
Oh yeah,
who is not wearing a wig in this film.
No,
which I think is great. She really uglied up for this movie, and I give her all the credit in the world for that. And we do get a couple. We do get a couple good laughs in there. We got Ed Nelson, who is an old character actor type guy. He was the main older cop guy. Norman Fell, who was Mr. Roper on Three's Company. Yeah, he's one of the coroners.
Did you like his mustache, Tim?
No, I didn't. I didn't like his ponytail.
Or his glasses. His John Lennon glasses.
Either. Very interesting, though. Very interesting. The character of Allie, played by a Deborah Rose, who looks like here was in Troop Beverly Hills and Ski Patrol and a couple other movies and things like that. And bit roles. Not exactly a stereotypical Hollywood leading lady.
No.
No,
sir.
All.
No,
all. She is, and I'm going to just be descriptive here, not making fun. She's very overweight, not winning any beauty contests.
Not real young.
Not real young. To be frank with you, though, it's something that stuck out to me. I saw this movie years and years, and I mean, when it came out. I mean, not too long after it came out. I did a person that I was roommates with, Kristen Nichols.
Yeah.
I was roommates with her and her then fiance, and she asked me, "Have you ever seen the movie The Boneyard?" I said, "The Boneyard? No." And she goes, "You haven't seen The Boneyard?" So of course, within a week, I had it because someone caught me in a movie I hadn't seen. So I watched it, and I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, this is something else." And nothing in this movie needs a V8. Does that make sense? Everything is leaning sideways. Everything is like, what the hell is going on? And if you haven't seen this, have you seen this before?
No.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead and talk about it. This is more fun listening to you. Never mind.
Well, I don't know.
If you haven't seen it before, then I'm going to let you. I'm just going to interject. Real quick, though, the music, one thing I did write down that the music is very reminiscent of like a Friday the 13th or a Halloween, like a cheap kind of thing. So they kind of threw that in there too. But this movie goes from everything from psychic premonitions to zombies to giant monsters to it's a kitchen sink movie.
Yeah.
It's a kitchen sink movie. So what'd you think of the kitchen sink, Harley?
Well, it's I appreciate seeing Phyllis Diller. That's for sure.
She's great.
But like I give this movie is very ambitious, and I almost texted you at one point because I'm thinking I could not pinpoint what I'm like. When is this? Seems 90s ish, but it seems a little older, So I really didn't know, going as I was watching it. And so I mean, I tried. I really tried to kind of focus on this movie a little bit more. But the problem with this movie, because it's ambitious, there's some really good things about this, and whoever's doing the special effects really was trying their butt off and succeeded really good on some things, like really good. But I think the problem with this movie, it's a B movie, okay, for sure. But I mean, it's treading between a B and C movie as far as. Now, there are some good acting, and the acting's not like awful in this. It just seems there's a lot of stuff in here that you don't need. There's a lot of, say, stage patter, maybe. There's like, and I think if they were to tighten that stuff up a little bit, this movie would have been.
They needed to get to the morgue quicker.
Yes,
there was too much letting you know. There was almost so much story going into it that you got confused.
Yes.
You didn't need it all, like you said.
No.
You didn't need it all.
Yeah. I don't need all of it. And it just took too long. Like you could have done it maybe in a scene or two real fast instead of, like just, you got to talk about, well, what's wrong with the psychic lady? Well, this is what happened. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I got to hear a 10-minute story about what happened instead of just, you could have done it in 2 or 3 lines and made the point.
Right.
And I think that's what hurt this movie. So for me, it kind of was like, I was in and out of it like that as far as, I liked it, but I just think it was too wordy at times where it didn't need to be. But I'm going to give the movie itself kind of but I'm going to have to give at least a decent grape ape up to the effects and the downright silliness of it. But the effects, some of them effects were, there's a Phyllis Diller monster in the film.
Yeah, she turns into a Pink Floyd The Wall monster. Yeah.
Monster. Yeah. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, it's just, I mean, the thing is, I feel bad because whoever did all this stuff did a great job, but then it looks like this thing was filmed on a little probably back then, a giant VHS camera with the tape inside of it. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. So I think that hurt the effects a little bit because some of the effects, like the kid monsters, the oily kid maniacs, look great.
Yeah.
And then they have some other like puppet ones. Like there's one scene, she's having a premonition and like this zombie child. It looks great. And it looks like it is practical effects for sure. I mean, but you could tell like it's got a little girl, like her arms tucked to her side and she has a skeleton arm coming out, but it actually looked pretty damn good. I was like, wow, they didn't hold back. And that's what I really appreciated more than the movie itself. I was really into the effects and what they were doing and stuff. Like, wow, you guys they weren't messing around.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
And I don't know who did the effects, if they went on to do anything more, but they were really good. And I think it helped this movie or saved the movie because the movie itself to me is,
I tell you, Well, here's the thing with me is that when I watched this the first time, when it was on, I had obviously had it suggested to me. Yeah. It started off and I'm like, it's going to be one of these bad movies. It's going to be one of these like, it was Demon Wind, which I just watched. It just never got good. It's stupid, but never got good. It never got good. It was just like, it was just there for an hour and a half. And it was just showing you things, wasn't doing anything. This movie kind of started off with that. When they're introducing the characters in the beginning, I'm like, are we following these people? We have like the young guy. First of all, everybody I thought was a pretty good actor. That young guy killed it. The young guy in the movie was an awful actor. He was
awful
terrible.
Sidekick,
yeah, he was terrible. You did not need him at all in the movie. Like, just didn't need him.
No. It's almost like they just needed him to tell the story of everything else that was going on because he didn't know what was going on.
I think they needed a young, handsome person because they threw a attractive young lady in there in a way you would have never thought. You would have been like, boy, they're stretching to try to get somebody in this thing. And it made me like, when I watched the first time, I'm like, I can't tell you that I've seen anything like this.
Right.
And that automatically gets me.
Yeah.
And it did start off very clumsy. And then when they got to the morgue, it picks up and then everything gets coherent. To the point where it's like, it's a very ambitious story as well as film.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of plot points that are fairly not necessary, but then they kind of are, because if you didn't know what the hell was going on, how is there a 30-foot poodle? How is there and there's a whole bunch of stuff.
I like that.
I did too. And I like the Pink Floyd The Wall Phyllis Diller monster. I thought those were great. And I remember when I watched this thinking, whatever. And that's on Norman Fell. I love Norman Fell. So I'm like, I'm all good with this. I love Phyllis Diller, like you were just saying. I'm all good with this. And then they got those little kids going. I'm like, I gotta say something. Those little kids are kind of creepy.
Oh, they were seriously awful looking.
Yeah. So it was not, and Phyllis Diller was she was holding back a little bit. I mean, she was acting in this. These people took this movie, they cared about this movie. They might have had fun making it, but they didn't want to make it stupid. No, and I give them all the damn credit in the world, where a lot of movies were zany and just like doing, doink, doink, doink. I mean, I remember Danny Hicks was sitting right in this room with us, and I said, do not like what Evil Dead 2 and Reanimator did the movies. Yeah. Well, these people, these characters are not doink, 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 doink. They're not. The situation is. The situation is fucking insane and unbelievable. But the characters are acting like, let's get out of here, man. You know, I mean, you know, it's they're reacting to it in almost a real way. And to have Phyllis Diller puking up stuff and turning into a monster and the damn dog running around, and there's a girl who's about ready to be autopsied and she wakes up, and there's you're just like, and there's a Chinese demon myth going on, and there's no other Chinese people within miles of this movie. I mean, I don't even think the guy that played the Chinese coroner was really in the movie. They just found footage of a guy and dubbed his voice, you know? Yeah. And as years have gone on, I've only seen this movie a couple times. I've only watched it a few times, okay? But I always look at it like, that's the curious one. That's that one I can't put my finger on. That's that one that I don't have anything for. It's like, and I can't, and therefore the way I kind of fall down on it, I find it to be, it's a brilliant film. It's a brilliant film because I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if I love it or hate it. I certainly don't hate it. I certainly don't hate it. I don't know if I love it, but it's always in my fucking mind. And every time I've ever seen it to purchase, I bought it. I got the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I mean,
got the laser disc.
But this isn't one that I kind of roll my eyes about. I got to have this movie. I mean, I got to go back to be able to watch this.
It's an eye roller. Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't. That's the thing. Like, usually if I'm like, please stop me. Okay. Like, we do have the mother load quotient, right? If mother load comes on Blu-ray, please tell me not to buy it. Okay. Like, it's one of those things. This movie's not that for me. Yeah. I want to buy it. I want to get more and more info about it. I want to figure it out. I want to, you know, but it's so, I don't want to be a dick, but man, they didn't cast these people for eye candy.
No.
And I really appreciate that because it's not exploitive either. They're not saying, ha ha, look at the fat woman we got. No. No. They're just saying, look, this is just the person. And they even make fun of her for being fat in it.
No.
They do make fun of her for being fat in it. If you remember, Phyllis Diller calls her fat ass. And Phyllis Diller looks down at her license and says, plumped up a little bit, did you? And I'm like, you know, that's not funny.
No.
I mean, that's kind of real life shit, you know? So I don't know what to do with it. So my thing is this. It's a big great pape up because I can't tell you where this movie came from. It fell out of a spaceship. It just landed into my VCR back in the early 90s or my friends, Kristen's, you know. But this movie, if you haven't noticed, I am at a loss for words. Yeah. I think it's brilliant because of that. Because it confuses me and it throws me off. It throws me off my game. And I don't know what to do with it. And I don't see a flaw in it. Does that make any sense to you? It's not that it's a perfect movie. I don't see a flaw in it. I don't see where they fucked up from their point of view.
Yeah. The only thing I think that what kind of took it was when, like, there's a couple scenes, like there's one where he goes to the house, you know, and then he's talking to her about coming back to become, you know, to do the help solve this case. Right. They're like standing in the kitchen, which is fine. Okay, you can stand wherever you want. Right. Well, I said, like, what hurt it for me, I guess, sometimes is like they're standing there and then they have a 5 or 7 minute conversation, and it's just the camera on them, and it's like the guy don't even change camera angles. For me, that kind of cheapened it a little bit. But I understand where you're coming from. This movie's very ambitious. I just think that the quality of the way it was shot and stuff hurts it a little bit for me. But as far as how it goes, it is, like you said, it's mixed bag of stuff. Now you go from little zombie, first off, kids coming back to life and eating people in the morgue, to a 30-foot dog or poodle. Still, you know, that looks crazy before it's 30 foot tall is awesome. You know what I mean? So to go, because you're thinking, well, we're just getting like this kind of weird little zombie maybe type movie. No, you're getting giant poodles and Phyllis Diller
right.
monsters.
Right.
So I said I appreciate it. I'm giving the actual movie itself, I'm giving it but the ambition, the special effects, and some of the comedy in it, or that, which wasn't a lot, but some a little bit here and there with Phyllis Diller and some other stuff, I thought was great. I give that a big grape, giant grape, baby.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to rebut you a little bit about that opening scene, because I find the opening scene to be not very interesting, unless you're a guy like me looking at this going, I have never seen in a movie ever a house that was kept like that by a woman.
Right. Yeah.
Never. It's always a burned out detective.
Yeah.
And they go to this woman's house and she's got pots and pans and pizza.
She's burnt out. And stuff hanging,
she's got pizza boxes everywhere. Yeah. It looks like Nick Nolte's apartment last week.
Yeah.
And who wrote that? I mean, it's almost breaking rules of Hollywood right in front of you. And it's the rules you don't think about.
And I'm good with that too. I'm good with that. Yeah.
This movie guffaws me if you didn't notice. So it's a big grape ape up. It's the Boneyard for me. I mean, if you're a listener that appreciates some things I say and some things that you say, and you're listening to me right now going, maybe I should watch this. Watch it. And I don't think Harley would even tell you not to watch it. Even though he's like, you've got to see it, because you don't know what kind of reaction you're going to have to it. It just depends on what you gravitate toward in it. And there's everything in there. There's everything in there except, sex.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, and maybe I like it for that too, that it's just a story about a story about something that happens. They don't throw in all that kind of extra stuff. They throw in the story, and it just takes you but you got to kind of pay attention to it, because you start watching this movie thinking, this is another one of those stupid movies. Yeah. No, you keep an eye on it. You got to keep an eye. And I think that slows the beginning down, because I think we're hardwired to not give two shits about the first couple minutes or something like that, And
that's my problem.
Well, and I think that you have to kind of pay attention to it a little bit, and then everything else. But I do think although it is kind of funny when the young guy goes up into the psychic woman's bedroom, and she pops up out of a bunch of blankets or something. Yeah. And she comes down the stairs, and you're looking at the silhouette going, what is that, a trucker? What is that? And then oh my goodness. Yeah. You're like, oh my goodness. And I remember telling Angie, I was like, this is the most unique leading lady you've seen in a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I'm done trying to explain it. It is the Boneyard. Yeah. I think you need need to see it. Whether I think Harley would agree with me too. I got a big grape ape for it.
Yeah, it's definitely something you gotta see.
You got something a little more mild. I think you're more confused by it than I am, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
and I don't blame you. It's the first time you've seen it. It's not fair. It's not fair for you. It's not fair for you. All right. So we had, so you had a kind of a mild grape ape up for that. We both had some pretty good grape apes up for Abbott, Costello meet. The Mummy, we're running real long on time. Not sure what we're doing next week, Mr. Ben Harley. But we will be here.
But it will be riveting.
That's right. It will be riveting. And I'm still confused by the Boneyard. So give me a week or so and we'll come back, and I'll be a little bit more normal next week. So until then, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.